Meh. Everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everyone, Cantonese Cat here. The monthly chart of Clean Sparks being shown here. You know how I know that things are getting reset in terms of sentiment, in terms of technicals. The views on my videos on Clean Spark has been going down. And the views on my posts on Clean Spark has been going down. There's no question about it. You know why that is? Because price has been going down. Everybody hypes up Clean Spark going all the way up here, and everybody's just kind of not talking about Clean Spark as much anymore. As price has gone down all the way from the 20s to the 15s. Guess what also happened? Very similar thing happened last time. The price went all the way from around the threes over here all the way up to around the 13s or 14, and then price got reset down to around the sixes. Things got pretty quiet about the stock, and next thing you know, things get pretty hyped up again with two big giant green candles over here on big volume, and everybody just got to get excited about it again. So I'm here to kind of give you a longer term view here. I am very bullish on Clean Spark over the next 12 to 18 months. I do have a position, is one of my biggest minor positions. I have a position in Mara, Clean Spark, and also Bitfarms. I'll talk about all three, plus other ones that I would talk about this weekend here as well. The key thing here is there's nothing really bearish about looking at the monthly chart here. This is simply just kind of gone way too far, way too fast, and right now it's trying to back test some of the levels down over here, right? If you look at the risk levels, if you look at the volume shelves over here, right now price is just kind of hovering around the bottom of this volume shelf here, and it could potentially go all the way down to even like the 15.2, 15.4 range right around here, or even lower, and that would still be okay with me. I don't think price is necessarily going to go plummet all the way down to like the 11 and 12, although it's still, above my cost prices over here. So if it ends up doing that, I might just end up buying more. I really doubt that it's going to necessarily happen. If it does happen, it basically is just back testing this, resistance as support down here. And that would still be healthy price action. It would still be causing a higher high and higher low, and now form a higher high, and now maybe looking for a higher low here. The question is more, where's the higher low going to be? Do I think it's going to plummet all the way down? Probably not. There are a couple of reasons as to why I think that is. First of all, usually halving is coming. Bitcoin halving is coming pretty soon, really within the next 2 weeks or so. If you look at my other videos in terms of what Bitcoin miners do generally after halving, and also why Bitcoin miners haven't really, spike up big yet and haven't really formed like these all-time highs yet compared to Bitcoin. Even Bitcoin's been forming all-time highs now. There is a reason for that. I think there's a lot of kind of overhang in terms of uncertainty before the Bitcoin halving happens. So usually the price actually is a little bit counterintuitively, because you think that Bitcoin halving means that it's going to be a lot harder for Bitcoin miners to get Bitcoin when they're trying to mine, because the reward cuts in half, right? You would imagine this could be like a pretty bearish event, but a lot of things have been already priced in. A lot of things have already been kind of pre-calculated, and that's also usually based on last cycle too. Like Bitcoin halving is like a little bit of a positive event for Bitcoin miners actually. Maybe because it also allows price Bitcoin to go up even higher based on supply and demand dynamics. Or maybe it's just one of those things that people tend to want to sell the rumor and buy the news of halving. I don't know exactly, but I think there are some pretty decent catalysts that are coming. There is always a potential though. If Bitcoin crashes, if Bitcoin corrects down to like 57, 56K, there's always the potential for Clean Spark to potentially test the volume shelf down below over here before bullish continuation. Do I think it's necessarily going to happen? No, not necessarily. I think even if it does that, I would buy more here. Like right now, even at this level, I added a little bit. I didn't really go crazy. I added a little bit around like the 16s or so. I did add a little bit, but the bulk of my position was really started right around like down here. So I'm comfortable where I'm at. If it ever gets down to a volume shelf around like 11 or so, I would be buying a lot more. And I would I'm not really looking to buy more, but if the market gives it to me, I'm not gonna, not take it. So that's one thing here is the volume shelf. If you put up the Ichimoku cloud, you do have a cloud rejection here, unfortunately, for this month. You can see there's a little bit of a tracer top over here. I could imagine last time I saw this, I thought of a couple things. you start thinking about some of the risk levels, right? It hit around 24, 25. It's probably gonna back test here because things just gotten a little bit too far, too parabolic, and it's gotten a little bit too far from the Tenkan last month. So I really thought that the price was going to back test some of these other lower levels here, and I drew down a lot of the lower levels down here for you. One level was, there's a potential for price to just kind of enter the cloud and do a back test of the cloud and bounce up, although it's still a little bit too far from the Tenkan and the Kijun down here on the monthly. But there is a big volume shelf over here. It ended up breaking into the volume shelf. So there's always the potential for things to kind of back test over here, volume shelf, and before this bullish continuation. That would have been the most bullish case. I would not expect the continuation to just keep going up like that. That was my most bullish case, is to back test the cloud here, maybe even wick down here a little bit, finding some support down here before going up further. This is a monthly candle, by the way, so that might still end up happening. There's still a good chance potentially for the month of April that it might end up closing above the Ichimoku cloud, which is around 18. I'm sorry, when I mean above the Ichimoku cloud, I mean above the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud, which is around 18. Would I count on that happening? No. But would I care one way or another? No. I'm still going to keep holding. I'm looking at some of the lower levels down here, though. Last one when prices kind of got inside the cloud, I did mention that, yeah, things got a little bit too far from the Tenkan and Kijun down here. And I can imagine like potentially backtesting some of these levels down here around 13 or 14. A lot of people are asking me, the volume shelf over here is really empty. Does that mean that these are not going to serve as support? Does it mean if price breaks down around 15, it's going to go all the way down to 11 in a hurry? Maybe, maybe not. Not necessarily. You do have some pretty decent volume shelves over here that could potentially serve as support. And if around this level here is also basically going to be a back test of this breakout levels over here and over here and over here. So I still think that there's going to be some algorithmic buying right around the 13 and 14 ranges if it gets there. So I'm not really entirely worried about going all the way down to 11. Although I would not have bought up here because there's going to be a correction coming because how far away it is from the Tenkan. I just don't know how far the correction is going to go. Is it going to wick down here and go up? Is it going to really go all the way down here, test some of the lower level? Is it going to test all? In the most bearish scenario I can see is it going to test all the way down here at the 11 before its bullish continuation? I don't know, but I think this was expected. This is a bull trend. It's just been forming higher highs, higher lows, higher high. Now it's trying to find a higher low. Where's the higher low going to be? I don't think anybody's really going to be able to tell you. But I'm seeing a lot of these risk levels down here. And I see that these levels below probably going to serve as pretty decent support if we end up, needing to go back down and test some of these supports down under below. I'll show you some of the other support levels here too. Could price just already been finding support over here and bounce up from here? Sure, that's also a possibility. I would not rule any of these things. I honestly don't care. I didn't even really care about trading this move from the 24s all the way down here. I don't care about these 30-40% moves. I don't care. Price has already corrected all the way from 24 down to around 15. So a lot of the correction has already been taking place, right? Sorry. So a lot of these corrections have already been taking place. So for example, it's already kind of going down for, around more than 30%. So a lot of the corrections have already been kind of, putting place. It could correct down a little bit lower. But I think the closer we get to Tenkan down here on the monthly, closer to 14 that we get down here, the less risk you're going to have. Let's take a look at something else here. Again, you already have a bullish Tenkan Kijun cross over here, which basically tells you that this is a confirmed bull trend that could potentially last for another 12 to 18 months. So I'm very encouraged by seeing something like this. If you look at another way, I think this also tells you that this has significantly been de-risked because during the last month, price has just simply closed way above the upper Bollinger Band on the monthly. And if it's getting too far from the upper Bollinger Band, just like the month before, gravity is going to hit. The upper Bollinger Band is going to serve as a magnet for price to kind of, touch it. Sure enough, it wasn't sustainable when price was in the 23s, went all the way down to below the upper Bollinger Band, bounced from it, right? So, it was around 15.64. It went below that and bounced from it. And right now we're kind of getting back to some of these levels, kind of doing a little bit more of a back test down here, right? So right now price is inside the upper Bollinger Band, which to me actually means that things are getting a little bit more de-risked. and I like that. I'm actually that's part of the reason why I end up buying around the 16s or so, because price went back down inside the upper Bollinger Band on a very, very nice bull trend that could potentially continue on for a while. The 20-month moving average just started pointing up, really it's just a few months ago. So I don't think this bull trend is really done yet. And anything that's going to end up de-risking from the outside of a Bollinger Band back inside, I think it was a pretty decent opportunity for me. So I added around the 16 range or so. Can it go down further? Sure. Does it have to? No. But you can see the Bollinger Band is also expanding, allowing the price to go up higher over time. It's expanding both up and down. The Bollinger Band is all the way down. So that tells me that there's going to be a potential trend that's going to keep on going for a while. You can see that when Bollinger Bands went all the way down over here, the trend was down. It just kept on going down for at least like 6 to 8 months, if not longer. So it just went all the way down over here. I think the bull trend is still going to be ongoing for quite some time. And some of the risk levels I've already shown you from the volume shelf. I already showed you in the Ichimoku cloud analysis. And now I'm showing you the risk level over here at Bollinger Band. It was really, the top part of Bollinger Band is really around 17. So that could also serve as a magnet for price to get pulled up here on a bull market too. That's also something to consider. I don't think a lot of people really consider that. So the risk level over here is pretty decent. That was the Bollinger Band analysis. If you look at the Fibonacci to try to figure out what happened, I'm going to do like this last cycle high here because because CleanSpark didn't really become like a true Bitcoin miner until December 2020. So this is going to be a little bit of like a funky chart, if you will. But you put up the Fibonacci level here, and it shows you some pretty clear thing in terms of what's happening. Over here, it got rejected by the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level. And things have just kind of been trying to bounce back down here a little bit. I do think that there's a potential for price this month to kind of close above this 7.5 Fibonacci level. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Things are just basically kind of going sideways. It's only been a week into the price. I do think that with around mid-April or so, when you have Bitcoin halving coming, I do think that one negative catalyst would be most likely be removed, or people are worried about what's going to happen with halving. So I do think there's potential for price to potentially even quite close above the 17.5 level here. Does it have to do that? No. I mean, it can hang around here. I don't care. And it's just trying to find a higher low. I just don't know how far it's going to go. Could it go down all the way back down to this Fibonacci level below of that? Sure, there's always that possibility. It could come back down and back test, right? And there's a big volume show over here as support. So that's going to be a risk level here. But you're also going to run into a risk where a lot of people are trying to front run something like that from happening. And there's a lot of support down below. For example, some of the levels down over here around 13 or so, right? I'll just kind of show you with the Ichimoku cloud, some of the levels down here around 13 or 14 or so. There might be people that just end up front running this. Or there might be even people that's just front running all of that, and they just end up buying a bunch over here at the bottom as well on shelf, which is going to be around like 15 or so before price bounces up. You just don't know what they're going to do. Like if you're greedy, if you're looking at like 11.5, if you get there, congratulations. You may not get there. If you get there, I'll buy more too. But right now, I'm very happy with my position, and I bought like right around here. So we'll see what happens with that. And but also another thing to kind of give you some food for thought here too is if you look at the blackhead oscillator, the info is still intact. Right now you have a little bit of price kind of go a little bit sideways over here, and that's to be kind of expected after this big giant parabolic move that's just happened. That's to be expected. Even down here, even when from here to here, you have a little bit of a corrective move over here in January, and you have a little bit of a pause for an inflow over here. Price eventually end up exploding up higher anyway. So the key thing is that the trend is still positive. So I'm not really that worried about CleanSpark so far, based on Bollinger Band, based on Ichimoku Cloud, based on Blackhead, fund flow indicator, and also based on RSI. It's not even overheated yet on the monthly. Right now, the RSI is like in the low 50s. I think this thing's probably going to go a lot higher. There's really nothing to tell me that the RSI is being overbought here on the monthly. On the weekly, I did show you, I think there was, a few weeks ago, I did show you that there's a bearish divergence over here on the RSI that CleanSpark's trying to work on. What I mean by bearish divergence is that price went up higher, but RSI went lower. So there's a little bit of exhaustion over here. And it's starting to play out. I mean, price really got kind of rejected over here. And there's a significant reset of RSI down here. If anything, I'm really starting to look, rather than looking at the bearish divergence up above, I'm really starting to look at how far the RSI is going to end up getting reset down here, because the further RSI ends up getting reset, the better it is going to be in terms of bullish continuation. Just a little tiny bit of a corrective move over here, end up getting significant decline of RSI here on the weekly. To me, that's a very, very positive indicator. If you end up having price go down even further to the 13 or 14 range, if you end up having RSI corrected down further to like 50, that would be very, very nice, because then you're really starting to talk about having a very nice bullish divergence or hidden bullish divergence that's really been building up. Because right now, like if it corrects even further, that would be a buy based on looking at RSI being reset, looking at bullish divergence being building up. Will it necessarily get there? I don't know. I mean, right now, again, it's trying to find a higher low. Right now, it's trying to reset the RSI over here. And it looks like a significant decompression has happened. Like RSI was in the 80 over here, was in the 70s, high 70s over here. And RSI has significantly reset down to the 50s down here. It was already having a little bit of a hard time trying to push up because RSI was still in the 70s all the way up here just a few weeks ago. And the sideways move over here, from like, really from like 19, 16, 17, all the way down to like, 16, 17 over here, to 15, to below 15 here, RSI has significantly decreased in terms of getting reset here. So I think it's a pretty positive development here. And I think the bearish divergence is starting to play out, and it could end up being played out pretty soon, maybe over the next couple of weeks or so. If you look at the unbalanced volume, that really tells you that even during the sideways moves over here, the buying volume is still pretty significant. It's just been consolidating, but the buying volume is still, I should back up. Basically, you have a divergence over here. Price, what did it do from here to here? Price went down. Unbalanced volume, what did it do from here to there? It went way up. Basically, what it's telling you is that there is a lot more buying pressure. This is a very classic very classic bullish divergence between price and unbalanced volume. And unbalanced volume is a way for you to kind of, add and subtract these volume over here per week, and that tells you whether or not you end up having a lot more buying momentum or selling momentum relative to price. If you see a divergence where price is going down and the unbalanced volume is going up, that basically tells you that there's a lot of kind of, hidden buying pressures over here that are not being seen. There are some, mental gymnastics you have to play a little bit on that to try and understand what I'm trying to say here. The absolute value for OBV doesn't matter, by the way. What you're really looking for is a trend. If the trend is up, but the price is going down, you have a bullish divergence over here. And this could basically, there's a lot of bullish momentum that's been building up over here. The lower it gets, the better risk-reward ratio it is. But even if this is as far as it goes, I still think this is a pretty decent risk reward ratio here. I did end up adding a little bit in like the low 16s. Could it go down further? Sure. If it goes down further, would I buy around 13, 14 range? Potentially. Could it go down to 12? Yes. What are the probabilities of that happening? I don't know. There is a lot of things that are kind of showing me that it may or may not happen, because there are a lot of people who are really trying to kind of front run this move. But I'm not a trader. I'm just here to, really trying to capitalize from this longer term bull trend of pretty clear higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Try to find a higher low here. Where is that good higher low going to be? I don't think anybody really can tell you that. But I gave you some thoughts in terms of what I thought. Does it have to wait for the bull market support band to come up? Maybe. That's also another thing too. I'm not sure whether or not it's going to go all the way down to 11.5, because the bull market support band, which is very positive sloping, is like pushing all the way up here. the more positive slope it is, the more likely it's going to serve as support. Just like the more negative slope it is, the more likely it's going to serve as resistance during the entire bear market, right? It's negative slope, bam, bam, serve resistance multiple times over here and over here. Over here is very, very possibly pointing up. There's also a possibility where price could just end up going sideways over for another, couple of weeks or so. Wait for a bull market support band to catch up, maybe even go down a little bit further, maybe to like the low 15s. It's gone down to the low 15s here before. Why wouldn't it go down again, right? It could end up waiting for a bull market support band to kind of come catching up to the 14s, and those two can end up meeting, and it could end up serving as support and push the price up a lot higher. So that's why I'm not really necessarily concerned, although there is a possibility for it to go down to like 11.5. I think that there is a lot of support that are kind of coming up here that can potentially push price a lot higher. Now, if you look at the Ichimoku cloud, I'm also going to put the Ichimoku cloud here too. It already is trying to breaking down one of these support over here on the weekly Tenkin, which has served as very nice support here for the last 5 weeks or so. I guess it's not going to be as good of a support, although it is pointing up though. So I still think it's probably going to serve as a lot better support than its resistance. Just because it's broken down a bit doesn't necessarily mean that it's like, it's going to be like bad resistance for now, right? That's not always the case. You got a lot of support down below. You got the Tenkin down below at 14. You got a booming support band down here at around the 13 range. So you're going to end up having a lot more support over here from the technical side, and algorithms are going to look into that and take it into account. Not necessarily just worry about the volume shelf. You have enough volume shelf over here to potentially serve as support at this range over here. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll find opportunities if it ends up dropping down further to buy. I might end up potentially buying more down here below. Although I have the bulk of my position really has been built, right around here. So I'm happy where I'm at right now, but we'll see what happens. It's been over 20 minutes. Thank you for listening. Have a good one. Bye.